If I wanted to start a SaaS business from scratch in 2026, these are the three things I'd pay closest attention to. You see, I wouldn't just aim for $1 million in revenue. I'd build a system that would predictably scale past 10 million and then 50 million in ARR. The blueprint for that system is what I'm going to share with you today. If you want to know why you should listen to me, I'm Ryan Ellis, and I co-founded a company called iContact and ran it as CEO for 10 years. We scaled to $50 million in ARR before we sold it to a publicly traded company for $169 million. Now I run SaaSRise, the largest community for experienced SaaS CEOs and founders, where we help B2B SaaS founders and CEOs with between 1 and 100 million in ARR scale their businesses with weekly mastermind calls, a Slack channel, WhatsApp group, circle group, and more. And in doing so, we have seen a very clear pattern in the data. Most SaaS companies get stuck. They hit the churn plateau. They hit this wall at maybe 5 to 10 million in ARR, and they just can't seem to break through. They're blind to the most critical part of their business, their unit economics. Simply put, they don't know their numbers. And if you don't know your numbers, you can't make informed decisions and you can't build a scaling machine. So if I were starting again today, the first thing I would do before anything else is get absolute clarity on my unit economics. That's what I'm going to talk about today. This is the foundation for everything in SaaS. There are 5 key SaaS metrics you need to know like the back of your hand. First, your customer acquisition cost, or CAC, your CAC. How much does it cost you to acquire a new customer? Just take total sales and marketing spend from last month and divide it by how many new customers you added last month. That is your CAC. Second, take your ARPA, your average revenue per account. What's the average revenue you generate per customer per month? Simple as that. If you have $100,000 in monthly revenue and 1,000 customers, well, you can do the math. It's about $100 per customer. Third, your account churn rate. What percentage of your customers are you losing each month? Just take your total customers. Let's say you had 100 customers. Let's say you lost 2 last month. That'd be a 2% account churn. Fourth, you need to be able to calculate your customer lifespan in terms of months. How long on average does a customer stay with you? Your lifespan is a simple calculation. It's just 1 divided by your monthly churn rate. So if you have a 2% monthly churn, your average customer lifespan is 50 months. And if you have a 3% monthly churn, your average customer lifespan is about 33 months. It's as simple as that. The last most important unit economic, and that is your customer lifetime value, your LTV. How much is a customer worth to you over their entire lifespan in terms of revenue? You calculate this by multiplying your ARPA, your average revenue per account, by your customer lifespan. So if an average customer pays $200 a month for 50 months, that's a $10,000 LTV. And once you have these 5 numbers, you can determine your target CAC, and then you can compare your target CAC to your actual CAC and scale up the channels that are profitable. For a bootstrapped or profitable SaaS business, a good rule of thumb is to aim for a 6 to 9 month payback period on your CAC. So you can just multiply your ACV, your annual contract value, by 0.5 or 0.75, and that's 6 to 9 months of payback. So your target CAC is simply your ARPA multiplied by 6 or 9, somewhere in that range, or your ACV divided by about 2. It's the same number. Another way you can triangulate your target customer acquisition cost is your LTV to CAC ratio. You should be aiming for a ratio of at least 6 to 1. Now, if you're bootstrapped, you might go for 8 to 1 to become even more profitable. And if you're really going for growth and you're venture backed, you could go to up to 4 to 1. But you want to make sure you make it minimum $4 in revenue for every dollar in sales and marketing spend over the life of that customer, and ideally 6 to 8. So for every dollar you spend in sales and marketing, you should be getting at least $6 to $8 back in lifetime value. Once you know these numbers, you're no longer flying blind. You have a framework for making systematic growth decisions. You know how much you can afford to spend to acquire an incremental new customer, which unlocks your ability to scale paid acquisition through outbound, through affiliates, any paid acquisition channel. This is the foundational science of scaling a SaaS business. And once you have this foundation in place, you can then move on to building the system. This SaaS growth system has 3 core pillars. So let's go through them. The first pillar is building a comprehensive account-based marketing, or ABM, lead list. This isn't just a list of a few hundred prospects. This is a list of every single company, an account, and every single person or contact at those accounts that fit your ICP, your ideal client persona. We use tools like Apollo Instantly List Kit and LinkedIn Sales Navigator to build these lists. You define your ICP, your ideal customer profile, the job titles, industries, company sizes, keywords on their website, and then you build a database, a map of your entire market. All right, so now let's go on to the second pillar. This is your multi-channel outbound and your content marketing. With your ABM list in hand, you can now systematically reach out to your entire market multiple times a year and be showing each person on that list an average of 5 to 10 ad impressions per month. How do we reach out? We reach out through AI personalized outbound email sequences using a tool called Instantly. These aren't generic emails. These are highly targeted, personalized, relevant emails that provide value, provide high quality content via PDFs or recorded demos, interactive demos, webinar recordings, something that's actually useful to our SaaS founders that we communicate with. We also use LinkedIn prospecting to send LinkedIn requests and then follow-up message sequences to those who engage with our outbound sequences. And we use our SDR team to create a weekly content machine, including blog posts, videos, webinars, and case studies. Take one weekly flagship piece of content and put it out onto your full email list and to your blog. And then you can turn that written content into a video using a tool like Synthesia, or turn a video like this into a blog post using ChatGPT from the transcript. This creates a consistent, high quality stream of content that educates your market and builds your brand. The goal here is to become completely omnipresent in front of your target prospects. You want your ideal customers to see your brand 10, 20 times every single month. We want our ideal customers to see our brand at least 10 to 15 times a month across multiple channels like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Google, and Bing, so that when they pass that 1 million ARR mark, the first thing they do is celebrate and say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna join the SaaS Rise Mastermind to be part of a community of experienced founders. This process builds trust and mindshare with our market, and you can do the same process so that when your customers are ready to buy, you're the first company they think of. Now, the third and final pillar is paid ads, paid advertising at scale. This is the accelerant, the nitrous oxide, if you will. This is how you take your company's growth from linear to exponential, from 50% per year to 300% per year. By solving the holy grail of digital ads and making them profitable, you can get past that $5 to $10 million churn plateau. And there's two ways to do that. You make your product great, and then you put fuel into the fire, into the growth engine through digital ads. Now, there's 5 specific types of ad campaigns that we run. First, retargeting ads. These are shown to people who have already visited our website. Second, matched audience ads. We take our ABM list, we sync it to platforms like Facebook and LinkedIn and Google, and we show ads exactly to the people that match. Third, lookalike ads. We create lookalike ads on Meta that take our existing customers and then find people that have similar demographics, psychographics, page likes, geographic locations, job titles. Fourth, paid search ads. We bid on our brand, we bid on competitor brands, including competitor comparison terms, competitor 1 versus competitor 2, competitor 3 review, competitor 4 analysis, competitor 5 rankings, all these types of terms. And then we also bid on market terms. For us, that might be something like SaaS Mastermind. Now you can find a list of what your competitors are bidding on using SEMrush, and then you just start a test, put it in the different buckets on Google search and Bing search, and see what your cost per lead, cost per qualified lead, and cost per sale is. And fifth, thought leader ads and sponsored messages on LinkedIn. We promote our best content on LinkedIn to our target audience using both organic post boosting called thought leader ads and direct in-mail messages called sponsored messaging on LinkedIn. This is great for the mid-market and enterprise B2B SaaS companies. Each of these campaigns, we're meticulously tracking every single week our cost per lead, our cost per qualified lead, and our CAC, CPL, CPQL, and CAC. And we're only scaling the campaigns that are hitting our target CAC while understanding that sometimes on Meta and LinkedIn, that creates the demand awareness or demand generation. And then often on Bing and Google on the paid search, that's the demand capture. So we'll allow a little bit of a higher CAC on the demand awareness, demand gen versus the demand capture, paid search. This is the system. And this is what people like to call a growth flywheel that can create a predictable revenue machine. Your ABM list fuels your outbound and content, which builds your audience and brand, which makes your paid ads more effective, which drives more revenue and qualified leads for your sales team, which allows you to invest more in your product and your entire marketing machine. But here's the reality. This process isn't something you can just dabble in. You're gonna need to either be a dedicated founder to execute it or have a couple people on your team that can really execute. It requires a deep understanding of the strategy, the tools, and the numbers. It requires systems thinking, and it requires a team behind you. You can't do this alone. You're gonna need SDRs to manage your outbound, AEs to close deals, and CSMs to retain your customers. This is how you build a real, scalable SaaS business and get beyond that $5 million churn plateau or that growth wall. Your goal shouldn't be to find a single growth hack. It should be to build a robust, data-driven growth engine. So if you're a SaaS founder who's ready to stop random acts of marketing and start building a predictable system for growth, this is the blueprint. And if you want to be surrounded by other SaaS founders who are on the same journey, come check out in the description where you can join the SaaS Rise community. This is where we go deep on the topics every single week in our Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday masterminds. Come join them when you can. Check us out at saasrise.com if you're a founder with $1 million+ in ARR, and check us out at growthrise.com if you are a B2B marketer. I hope this video was valuable to you. Now go build your system. And if you want to see step-by-step how one killer SaaS company did exactly that, click here on the vid card to check out the next video for my full breakdown of all the strategies that Clay.com used to make multiple 9 figures. I'll see you over there.